Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and this episode is being produced for Forbes, where I'm a contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. And today's guest is one of the greats. We are so fortunate to have with us today James Lee Sorenson, the president of the Sorenson Impact Foundation, who's really one of the great social entrepreneurs of the world and also one of the largest impact investors as an individual, very wealthy individual, very successful entrepreneur. Jim, we're so happy to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. It's great to be able to join you today.
Well, we appreciate you coming back. You were one of the very first people I interviewed for the show nearly 2 years ago when we just launched. It's just a thrill to have you back, and we appreciate you making the time. You have been doing impact investing and social entrepreneurship for a long time. I think even before you could use those labels to describe what you were doing. But it seems, Jim, that this has become really your true passion and focus with real commitment. How has that evolution come about?
Well, I think my background and history is that of an entrepreneur, and through the years I've been involved in many ventures in different sectors, and with that I think came success, and I think an understanding of businesses, and particularly ventures that were very entrepreneurial, very they were based on new innovation or new markets. And as I look back and decided going forward what I really wanted to do with the rest of my life, I really wanted to use the experience, the knowledge, to be able to give back, and give back in a more impactful way than seemed to me was predominant in the philanthropic world. And that really led me to the field of impact investing. Of course, this was well before those labels were applied, but I was really looking for models that could become scalable, that were self-sustaining, that could really reach a lot more people to make a bigger impact.
Well, and you've also been a very generous philanthropist along the way. As we look at the sort of the portfolio of things you're doing in the impact space, one of those for which you're most well known is the Sorenson Global Impact Center, Impact Investing Center at the University of Utah. Why don't you just remind us a little bit about what that project entails?
I think it's a very interesting educational endeavor that provides students with the opportunity to have an experiential education in areas of social entrepreneurism, and particularly at the juncture where these social enterprises are looking for capital, needing human resources, finding scant availability of capital and help. This is a center, I think, which provides students both with a great education, but also very useful services to these early stage social entrepreneurs and enterprises that are looking to ultimately get access to capital to help their businesses to grow, or to be able to optimize their business models. It's a place where we call it the pioneering gap, because quite often there's a gap in terms of funding and human resources to help them get to the point where they're ready for investment. And I'd had experience with student-based experiential programs for some time. I was involved in helping to establish the largest student-run venture fund. Again, this is a fund that students raised about $20 million at the University of Utah, the University Venture Fund, that taught students all of the aspects of due diligence, deal sourcing, and what it takes to underwrite venture investments. And so it was a very natural progression to take that kind of curriculum and add the social impact aspect to it. And that's what we do at the center.
It's really a brilliant model in that it brings the students into the process so they can learn how to drive impact investment, social entrepreneurship. At the same time, you're actually feeding the entrepreneurs that are there today and providing them the fuel they need. So it's just a brilliant model. You and I both are fortunate to live in Salt Lake County, and one of the things that the county has been doing is leading the way on something called Pay for Success. Now, we used to call this social impact bonds, and Pay for Success has become a more apt and better understood label for this. But you've developed a real passion and interest in this. What drives your interest in the Pay for Success model of funding social services?
Well, there are a number of aspects. I think it's a much more responsible way to deliver services that are based on outcomes that are measured. So the accountability to it, I think, the stewardship of public money and actually paying for results as opposed to programs that may not be producing results. But also, I think the public-private partnership in engaging, outside capital or the capital from the private world to address these social problems, to take the risk and potentially generate a return, but only if there's a greater savings based on the outcomes to the payer, which in often cases is government. I think that's a very innovative model. Has great potential in many applications, from recidivism to homelessness to the cycle of poverty and the many aspects that can be preventative of that cycle, as well as the problems facing healthcare today.
It's a brilliant model, and I'm excited about it. In spirit of full disclosure, I've recently joined the Community Foundation of Utah as its interim executive director, and that entity is partnering with the county on a $15 million Pay for Success program right now. But Jim, you're also involved with other things in the impact investing world, including you're recently done a trip to Nepal with Choice Humanitarian, and I've heard some wonderful things about that. I'm going with Choice next month to visit Nepal. I'll be there with Jim Mayfield, whom you know well. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with Choice and in Nepal in this area.
Well, I think we had a wonderful experience in our trip. I think you're in for a real treat, Devin. The Nepalese people are very peaceful, loving people. They have a lot of problems to overcome in terms of the conditions that they live and their current state of development. And I think what Choice has done is really developed programs that have helped to train and educate the people there and to prepare them to be able to be more entrepreneurial and build models of economic development that are fundamental in them being able to really in a scalable, self-sustaining way improve the conditions in which they live, the incomes that they have, and really climb the social ladder, so to speak, in terms of the outcomes that we measure to determine the health and welfare of communities. And that very fundamental work that Choice is doing is really important, and our interest really in working with Choice is really to help take it to the next level of the next stage, and that is helping with social entrepreneurs that may be there, or business models that may be there that address these social problems or help build infrastructure or take advantage of great natural resources that could be developed for the benefit of the people, like the hydroelectric resources that are in Nepal, and agricultural resources, and help the people within the country to be able to benefit in country from the development of these sectors.
It is exciting to think about the rate at which you can expand successful programs if you apply entrepreneurial principles that allow for investment, because donations won't scale infinitely, but investments will scale effectively on an infinite basis. It's a very exciting model. And speaking of investing, you're actually launching an impact investment fund. Tell us a little bit about your efforts around that.
Well, I talked a little bit about the first fund at the University of Utah, the University Venture Fund. The second fund will really be similar in terms of student engagement and students doing the work, students learning. The investments will be focused on impact, or social entrepreneurs and businesses that across the various sectors, from education to healthcare to financial inclusion, have business models that help those in the local community here in the Intermountain area with greater opportunities. And we see a great potential for these, both in terms of social impact bonds. We've talked a little bit about that. That certainly could be a source of some of the deals. Early stage ventures focused on these social issues and successful business models, and then thematic venture capital that is also typical but focused on impact. So this would be a fund that would address that, and we see as investors opportunities for the local banks in their CRA initiatives, as well as foundations and philanthropy that are interested in addressing these issues in a more scalable, self-sustaining way through impact investing.
Well, this is really great work you're doing. For so many people, Jim, you are a role model. You are an inspiration. You are an idol or a hero to really a lot of people. I wonder, Jim, to whom do you look for a role model?
Well, there's probably not one individual. I think there are some great people out there that I'd look to, that I admire. Certainly, my father as an entrepreneur was a great example. I learned so much from him. I worked fairly early on with Unitas and Mike Murray. I don't know if many people know of Mike Murray, but Mike Murray was one of the founders and really funded that. And I think Unitas was really fundamentally important and a pioneer in this microfinance sector that has developed, and where there's a tremendous amount of investing, and probably the first greatest success in the impact investment world. Unitas is an organization that has many now activities going on, and Mike Murray was very fundamentally involved in that to begin with. Muhammad Yunus, another great pioneer. There are other tremendous people in the impact investing and social entrepreneurship area that are promoting the cause. Sir Ronald Cohen is a great example of one that has been quite a leader in that regard. So this is an area where I think there are a lot of role models, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot to learn from. And I'm happy to just be one of the cogs in helping to build this ecosystem and to make not only the investors aware of this great opportunity, help to train and build the next generation to be the professionals and choose careers to help grow this space.
Well, you're a remarkable cog in this emerging ecosystem, so we really appreciate what you're doing. As we think about this, everyone who's watching has one thing in common. There are a lot of different interests, but one thing in common, and that is a desire to do more good. Can you give us one tip for increasing our impact?
I think that everybody has the capacity to be able to contribute in unique ways. And I think it really is, what is your strength? What is your weakness? What is your capability? And, taking that introspection, and then once you discover what that is, looking for ways to be able to contribute that and be involved. And we see, I think, a tremendous resonance and interest in this with the next generation. And at the center, we have students not only from the business school, but from other disciplines, and they have a domain expertise that they can bring to bear and contribute. So I think it's really figuring out where you fit and how you can contribute, and realizing that you're important, and it's going to take an effort from all of us. And if we all contribute what we have, we'll move mountains. We really will. There's great opportunities and a great way to be able to be involved.
Oh, that's a great insight. I certainly want to believe we can all contribute. I'll find a way. Now, before we go, Jim, there will be a lot of people who want to learn more about all these projects that you're undertaking. What's the best way for people to follow up, get more information, and engage with you?
Well, of course, the center was designed really to be able to provide assistance, to provide education, and to actually be involved in engagements. I mean, if there are social entrepreneurs with businesses that are at this stage in the pioneering gap, it's a great opportunity to reach out to the center. You can do that by going to the the SGII Center website, and as well as philanthropy. I mean, if there are foundations that really want to get involved, they need help, they don't have programs, but they'd like to be able to start becoming involved, this is a great way to have a resource out there. So I'd highly recommend that. The center provides great services for my foundations. We make investments and we make grants based on the work that they do, every year, and it's been really a great catalytic resource for us to be able to do what we do in our foundations.
Fantastic. Jim, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. We're so grateful that you would do this. So we want to wish you every success in all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you. It's great to have this opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to have this discussion.
All righty. Let's do some good.